So I'm honestly not a huge fan of making these kinds of videos. But a lot of other YouTubers affected by this have been talking about it. Many of you have been messaging me asking for my own response, so I figured, alright, I'll make a video on it. Either way, if you guys aren't familiar, basically over the past couple of days, there's been a couple of Reddit threads on the Fallout 76 subreddit that got a lot of attention and a lot of support that were basically calling out YouTubers for a variety of different things. For some context, the Fallout 76 subreddit tends to just be way more pro Fallout 76. They're more supportive of the game. They still are negative of it, and there's definitely phases where they're super negative, but overall they're more positive than the regular Fallout subreddit. A couple of days ago on that subreddit, somebody basically just made a post saying that Kotaku steals content from it and uses it to make its articles, directly plagiarizing. It got a lot of attention and support. There also is kind of just a hating Kotaku circle jerk on Reddit in and of itself. I'm not saying that's justified one way or another, but it's just something important to keep in mind. But then a couple of days later, the first post in question here was made saying that Kotaku aren't the only ones blatantly plagiarize Reddit threads. It's done by every gaming news YouTuber as well. And it's got a lot of attention and support. I actually gave a few responses on this. They were downvoted or attacked. It seems like that post actually ended up getting removed by the moderators, but then later on we got another post saying, at this point, YouTubers are harming Fallout 76 and its players. So in this video, effectively what I want to do is go through some of the points made in this post itself and some of the comments and just give some of my response to them, where I think maybe things have merit or are somewhat correct and where I think they really got things wrong. It seems like on that first post in particular, I was at the butt of a lot of the criticisms or complaints. But either way, leading off with the first post, more or less the claim being made by this guy is that a lot of YouTubers will just look at this subreddit, go over some of the top voted posts, and then in his own words say that is the material for whatever hate mongering video they make next. Going on to say one of the worst parts is people on YouTube really aren't liable like Kotaku is. And then he lists off a couple of videos, one such one being mine with his own comment saying, JuiceHead claimed thousands of accounts were leaked in this title, never corrected himself. So my first response here, which I actually commented on this thread as I kind of mentioned earlier, I think there's two takeaways from this post and his comment on it. First and foremost, yeah, I was wrong in that video. Thousands of people were not affected by that leak, this referring to the Bethesda support leak from a couple of weeks ago, but I did correct myself. It just was in a separate video. Actually, it was a video that got a lot more attention. And in that video I said, yeah, in my past video I incorrectly said thousands were affected. In reality, only 63 actually had personal information revealed, and I actually went on to say that I don't even think the leak was that bad. As far as leaks go, 63 people getting affected is pretty good. But to the point that my old videos had thousands in the title, yeah, no, that was totally wrong. Since seeing this post, I went back, edited that video, changed the title, and actually pinned a comment because that was just misinformation on my part, and I think in that regard, he's right. But I would say to his further point, or rather conclusion from this, that in his own words, that Kotaku, YouTubers, and even many OPs in this subreddit want to actively mislead you and cause outrage. This is actually echoed by a lot of commenters on this post, saying that I either did a flip-flop on the game, or that as soon as I personally saw the negativity around this game would actually get more views, I started making content exclusive in that regard. Many people citing explicitly a flip-flop, that I went from really liking the game because I thought that was the best course of action to not liking the game when I saw that as the best course of action. And well, no, that's not what happened. I don't even think if you really watched my videos that would be evident as to what happened. I don't think at any point I was really in love with Fallout 76. Even if you watch back to the Greenbrier build, after seeing other people's footage, I literally said in a video, this game looks a little bit worse than just based off my 3-hour experience. And I think if you watch a lot of those older live streams when the game first came out in beta, you'll see me gradually start to dislike the game more and more as I experienced more of it. I think this is most evident by my answer to the question, is Fallout 76 worth it? This is a question I consistently was asked during those live streams and started out with, yeah, I think at $60 alone. Like I would not pay more than $60 for the game in its current state. That progressively moved to, well, if it's between this and maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, I would really look at Red Dead Redemption 2. It probably is more worth the $60. That progressively went down to maybe $40 if some of your friends are also playing it, to now my view is probably $30 if some of your other friends have it. And I truly don't understand the idea that I did this massive flip-flop. The simple reality is, my views changed. Yeah, when I only played the game for a few hours, I thought more highly of it than when I had 40 hours in. And then with the onset of controversy after controversy, actually getting a look at the Atomic Shop and what that was doing, I think Bethesda made a lot of really bad decisions around Fallout 76 outside of even just the core game itself, and I talked about that. I made news videos talking about that. I don't think I was specifically trying to create outrage around the game, I was talking about what was happening around the game. When there was positive news, I talked about positive news. Considering there was more negative news, I talked more about negative news. And to this whole concept or idea that I really only jumped on the hate bandwagon for the views, or when I saw that people were starting to get better views from that, that's not true. If you look at my own channel, you'll see that my highest viewed Fallout 76 videos are informative or neutral. And even beyond that, maybe I'm reaching with this one, but it seems like a lot of the people criticizing my content are people that don't agree with it. Now, it's a dangerous precedent. I don't want to just write off all criticisms by saying, oh, those people just don't understand, or they're Bethesda fanboys, because I don't think that's the right approach either. Invariably, a lot of the comments and posts on that thread actually do have legitimate criticisms. If you look past some of the hatred, there are ways I can improve my content, and I'm open to that. I want to hear that. I have my Discord linked down below, my emails on my channel page. Tell me how I can improve. If you really feel like I'm clickbaiting too often, then tell me I'm clickbaiting too often. I'll try and improve in that regard. But to this idea that I'm just chasing money and views and my opinions on this game flip-flop based on what's going to maximize, that is just not true. That's not how I feel personally. 95% of the content that goes on this channel is reflective of my personal views, and I make them clear in each and every video. I personally think I add enough to some of the Reddit threads I do look at. I give my own opinions, I give my personal anecdotes, and just the fact that on the same thread I got so many personal attacks just sucks. I feel like things like that make me so much more likely to want to just be like, you know what, screw it, they're just haters, I'll ignore them. Yet almost all of my comments on this post were met with extreme backlash, and even some of them had some personal attacks sprinkled in, which again, just sucks. I don't want that, I don't like that, and it sucks reading that about yourself. But then moving on to the second post, we have, at this point, YouTubers are harming Fallout 76 and its players. So the person who posted this chose a horrible title, and I think he acknowledged that later in the post. What he actually is meaning by this post is, the communities around certain YouTubers have been super negative about this game, and are actually trying to make people who enjoy the game feel bad about enjoying the game. This is something I have absolutely seen. I actually think he's very right in that regard, where that is a real problem. You watching this, if you see somebody enjoying Fallout 76, there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, they are in a better position than you. They paid $60 for a game and are loving it. I wish I was in that situation. But it seems like before he actually made some of those edits, this got a lot of attention and a lot of support and disagreement in the comments. But I also think the fact that this got so much support initially with the title and with people understanding the title as YouTubers are just harming Fallout 76 is almost worrying in its own right. I don't think that's really a true statement. And again, to be clear, it doesn't seem like that was what the initial poster actually really meant by this, but what a lot of the people that upvoted this interpreted it as. I don't personally think Fallout 76 YouTubers have caused a bunch of additional problems with this game, and if anything, I think they've been one of the factors in getting changes that are mostly positive around this game. There's several things that Bethesda seemingly weren't going to do initially that they ended up doing, such as some of those quality of life features like the FOV slider on PC, actually getting more detailed patch notes, and even in the future getting comments as to why they're making changes in the patch notes. They recently announced that, and even beyond that, actually removing those fake sales from the Atomic Shop. I'm a big believer in one of the reasons all of this got changed was because of the outrage around this. That simply seems to be the way companies operate nowadays. So I definitely would not say YouTubers are solely responsible for this, or even mostly responsible for this. But I think as far as the subreddit goes and YouTubers go, each of them play a role in actually creating awareness of certain problems that the community wants to see fixed. Can YouTubers sometimes take this too far and actually create issues around something that isn't really a problem? Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I think this coverage of negative aspects about the game and calling out Bethesda for what they're doing wrong is essential if you want a better game. If you don't care, if you just want to see Fallout 76 as the dumpster fire it is, just ignore it, make one bad review and move on. But I think being persistent, talking about the issues, and hopefully providing potential fixes to them is one of the keys to change in the right direction. Now, maybe I'm misguided or wrong in that, but as a result, we've seen several positive changes to the game, and hopefully that will only continue on into the future. And that was really it for the second post. There wasn't a ton of controversy around it, but it was just seen as more of another outlet for the subreddit to voice its discontent, and well, it wasn't deleted. But all in all, a couple of overall takeaways I think that are important to keep in mind here. I don't make YouTube videos just for views or money. Are those factors? Yes, but at the end of the day, I just enjoy making YouTube videos. I think something a lot of people don't seem to understand is I don't have to enjoy the game to make videos on it. Sometimes that is a big issue. Sometimes my disenjoyment of Fallout 76 causes me to not make videos on it or even not want to make videos on it. But most of the time, I'm okay with that. Me not playing the game for hours in my free time is okay because I enjoy creating content. I don't know if I'm really doing a good job at explaining that, but me saying I I don't personally like the game doesn't mean I'm gonna stop making content on it, because I still can enjoy making content on a game. I enjoy the process of recording most of the time, unless there's too much bugginess, but most of that has subsided now. And then also editing and actually discussing some of the things about the future of this, because I want it to be a better game. And I'm really not someone who is just chasing it for whatever is the most popular thing to say at a given time. If you look back to some of my older videos, if you look at the like to dislike ratio, you'll see how much backlash I got for being negative about the game, or even in other videos, how much backlash I got for being positive about the game. It feels like mostly along this entire process of covering Fallout 76, it doesn't really matter what my opinion is, somebody will be unhappy with it. And that's okay, I don't have to please everyone, but I'm used to not having to please everyone, so I'm mostly giving my true opinion. Another thing that's really important to keep in mind, think about the other perspective. Even though, again, some of those comments were super hateful and it just hurts reading that stuff, it's not fun, at least some of those have decent points. There are truths contained in those. But that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. Tomorrow we're gonna have a normal upload, hopefully nothing like this, especially around Christmas. I mean, who wants to talk about this around Christmas? But as always, again, I thank you for watching and I hope to see you all next time. Later.